Hello again, and welcome to another behind the scenes video. This one is about the whale short that I uploaded recently, and it's called Whale That Didn't Work. That might not be funny. And I wanted to go through a couple of things from this video. You can see it here. If you haven't seen the complete short, I'm going to leave a link in the description. Or, just go to the link of all of the shorts, subscribe, like, all of those things. So I heard this story. This is a two-part story. I thought about making two videos, but then it seemed like the second story was not fit for be just one video. And I thought I'm making a whale story anyway, so I'll just put the two parts together. And so the first part is about, whales, the reason why they have to go out of the water to breathe. And I thought that was really like a funny story, like going outside of the water first, developing lungs, and then saying, like, you know what, I'm just going to go back to the water, but keeping their lungs, and then living in an ocean and having to breathe air. I really think that's very impractical, and I think it's funny. And I love whales, they're beautiful, but it's funny to me, so I wanted to make a video about it. And so here we are. So let's go first through some parts for the first part, and then I can show you my favorite part for the second part of this video. Okay? Again, I apologize. I might ramble a lot, but here we are. Let's go. Okay, so as usual, everything starts with a beautiful script, all, very orderly. And we go to the script and we have, part 2 here. And then the visual script. The reason why this is in green is because it really does help me, like, visually. Once I end a shot, like it's already done, I highlight it in green. So that makes me feel like I'm making progress. Because for this video, for some reason, so the first one was the Mary Shelley one, and the Mary Shelley one was it was not as complicated as this one. I think I chewed too much with this one, and it took me a while because I usually do this on the weekends or afternoons or my spare time, and this was like a lot, and it had a lot of little animals and plants and the ocean and stuff, and it was kind of longer, especially because I added the second part, so it took me a while. And I was getting kind of frustrated with it. But doing this, it kind of helps me feel like the end is in sight and to not get really frustrated. So that's something that I do regularly. Also, it keeps me, like, organized in my head. Like, I can offload my to-do list. So here it is. So let's go to After Effects. Let's go to After Effects. Here we are. Here's our little whale. Okay, let's see, where's After Effects here. As usual, my usual setup, assets, audio overlays, PNGs, proxies, PSDs, and textures. My com folder, which I've been doing this for a long time. I never have more than 2 folders here. It's main and pre-coms. And the main would be the shots that are actually rendered, the things that come out and end up in the final edit, or the things that if you have a client that you have to deliver. So this is the main folder. And then the pre-coms, which is everything that goes inside. And sometimes I organize them by shots, and I organize them by characters, and special little thingies, right? So I have this setup, and let's see, the title chapter, which I have a template for, and I'm using for this type of video, which has more of like a vintagey look, because I'm working on a different video. The third episode for this is going to be a space type of thing. It's not even going to be this aspect ratio, so I changed this title sequence. But I'm planning on leaving this as much as I can, and I have it already, so I just imported and I just changed the title. And then let's go to, I always add a disclaimer, because believe it or not, like, disclaimers like are important. People need to know things. Like, I know this might be very obvious that I am not a whale expert and I'm not a marine biologist, and like this is just supposed to be a fun short, but I feel the need to put that in writing because, you know, like, I'm oversimplifying a lot of stuff. And this is just like, the purpose of this video is to entertain. That's it. I'm not here to educate anyone as to, you know, whale biology. So, and then if we go to shot 1, here was when I thought I was doing too much. Like this scene, for example. I don't know why, I don't remember why I had this idea of our, you know, when you think of evolution and you think of this image, right? And what it says at the beginning is you think of evolution as a straight line. And I thought, I mean, obviously straight line and this image, but I could have just put, you know, cut them up and put them there. Instead of like, every single one of this is rigged, every single one of this is photoshopped, and every single one of this is animated separately to walk. It's a walk cycle. I could have skipped that, but I didn't. I kind of regretted it when I was on this dude, and then I was like, now I have to finish. So I did, and I made proxies. So here you can see that these are just mobs. That MOV files, but I do have in my precoms, I do have him stage 1 evolution, for example. You have it here. So yeah, I thought this was like a lot, because if you know anything about character animation in After Effects, is that it gets crazy like pretty fast. Like, look at this. This is 63 layers just for a walk cycle of this little monkey dude. I have to say, this monkey dude walking, I might reuse at some point, because I took it as far as to bend the toes of the feet as they were walking. Do you see that? Like, do you see this bending right here? I did that by hand, and I did that for every single one of them. And the story and the short is not even about them. So I started to regret it pretty fast, but I did it anyway. So that's in shot 1. And then I do this maybe not so funny remark about religion, and I have this really cool image of Adam, and I make him cover himself. But I was thinking about leaving this whole image, you know, complete, but then I thought it maybe was too much. And this is supposed to be just a funny remark, just to give us the introduction for the short. But then we go here, and this is something that I use very much. If you see here, this is a particle system. I use this particular trapcode particular a lot. If you don't know what that is, I'm gonna leave a link in the description, but this is a plugin to make particles, and you can choose your sprites. You can choose like the particle that you want to use, and in this case I use this little, it's a cell, and this is what you have. And so here I have like an expression on the scale, which is this expression that I use a lot. It says posterized time 7 frames per second, which is going to posterize the wiggle effect, but you have to put it before and then enter, and then you put the wiggle expression. So what this does is here, it wiggles the scale, but it does it in a really cheapy way, like you're like a stop motion type of thing, you know, skipping frames. So then you have this, and then you use it as a particle, and then you have a lot. And this is it. Like it's a box and it's continuous and it's bringing me 200 particles per second. There you go. And then these are supposed to be cells that turn into an egg. And then inside the egg, voila, a platypus. You have to love platypuses. I'm thinking about doing a video about platypuses because what even is this? And let me show you. Becky did the sound effects for this, and I didn't instruct her to do anything in this part, but if you go here you can hear it.
And sometimes it just forgets to make sense.
Okay, so that is an actual platypus sound. It is an actual platypus sound, which I thought it was hilarious. I don't know how she found it, but that's how they sound. Okay, that was the shot one, and then we go to the intro part of everything, etc., etc., and then we go to the whale part and the ocean part of this. So this was a hard one because I debated myself on how I was gonna construct this. So what I decided on doing was this. Check this out. Okay, so this is the pre-composition for this shot, and this is a 4:3 aspect ratio composition, as you can see, like almost square. But then if you go inside my pre-comp, you can see that it is actually way bigger and wider, because I wanted to be able to have like a full just ocean inside and then just land on the other side, so I could move the composition around. So that's what I did, and here we are. Let me put this in a quarter of a, and so then you can have like this whale. I really like this animation of my whale. Check this out. The little feet. So he comes into the shore and he gets feet out and walks out of the water. And he has little boots and everything. That was Becky's idea. And like the legs are so short that the steps are like tuck 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 tuck, like super short. I love this part. And then you have like a lot of assets, like this little rock and this other little rock, and plants and the water. And the water is actually like a lot of textures, and I painted it with a brush in Photoshop, and it has like a wave effect. And that's how these scenes are composed, right? Cool. And then, here's my favorite scene of all. So, effects, let me turn this effects off. So here's when we do the rundown, right? Like this little dude who's called Italic comes out of the water, walks in, and then time passes. So I really have a hard time like animating or getting ideas for animating time, the concept of time passing, because everything's been done, like a clock moving super fast, or like day and night, or like I even thought about using like a sand clock, but then I thought it's kind of like the same. What are you gonna do, like flip it around? So I decided to go with the old day and night type of thing, but I added this little thing where he goes inside and you can see day and night. So I have the sun, here it is, and I just animated passing by with like a lot of motion blurs, because I'm not gonna animate like 300 million years of day and night. And like the shadow of the rock animating. But if you go ahead, if you just look at this rock, what I did is I did a fossil. Because I bet those things take a long time. And I changed the plants, and I changed the scenery a bit, so that this little dude can come out. And this one is my favorite to animate. This one's very cool. And so, Pachycetus. And then he comes here and he has his crises. And I thought, how I'm gonna make him like morph into what he's supposed to evolve in like an instant. So I have this little character that I love that I made that I'm gonna use a lot. I use it in the credits on the last episode, but I'm gonna use it like because I really like it. And then we can see it. He cries and cries and cries, and we have the fairy donkey mother. I mean, come on. It's a donkey with the wings and like a unicorn horn. Isn't it great? Like it, I just love it. It's donkey corn. Look at this. It's so cool. I love this one. And let's see. I want to use them for everything in life. I will. And so I thought he would come in as a fairy godmother and transform him into what he needs to be, which is this Ambulocetus type of thing. And again, I felt the need to clarify with the text that passes way too fast. But if you stop the video and pause it and read it, it says that this didn't happen like this, like donkey corns are not real. And then he turns into the Ambulocetus thing, and he dives into the ocean, splash, and goes out into the wild. And so here is where I use the reference from Moby Dick, because obviously, and this is, I needed like the perspective for the second part. I needed a perspective from over water, not underwater, and I thought Ahab would be like the perfect character for this, and so I added the Moby Dick. And so this is a quote from Moby Dick, and he takes Ahab and says goodbye. And then here we explained how they need to go out to get air, and it's so impractical. I think if you live in an ocean and you have to get out to get air, I mean, come on. But anyway, so that is the end of the first part. And I just love this type of transition, which is like old school, maybe Star Wars type of thing. Just a circle, and then not the end. And let's go to the second part. So if you've already seen the short, you know what it is about, what I'm about to talk about. This is part 2. I had to do a warning. This is not for children. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this, but I'm just warning you. And then here we talk about the mating habits of some whales, which they have groups, and you can find like one female with a lot of males. Funnily enough, you don't find it the other way around. But okay, so first of all, I had to animate like a lot of whales here. It's not like a lot of time, but it was kind of annoying. So if you go in here, let me show you something really cool. This is something that I'm going to mention all the time because I use it a lot, which is this plugin called Duik. And if you go, I made this just for this rundown. You can see my whale here, right? So I made like 2 types of animations. The keyframes that you see that are in yellow are for like the swim, and the keyframes that are in red are the keyframes that I need to make him like twist like that, so that in the other composition I can make him give a turn, right? And it looks a little more flowy. So this is very cool. You have your pins, you have your rig, which I will not go into this today. If you want me to go into this at some point, I will. But then you have this, and let's say you have to do it all the time and all the time and all the time. And so you can actually get keyframes and save them as an animation preset. So here I have general swim and water turn. So I already saved them. So if I put like general swim, I said, okay, guess what? He's gonna make me all the keyframes that I used. And he's gonna swim. And it stops. And then if I, sorry about the bike. And then if I have water turned, guess what? He's gonna make the keyframes for the water turn. And like that, you can add as many as you want. And I could just like add all of this to just one big animation preset and have like the big swim of the big turn and just repeat it. Because this shot was complicated like that, just in bulk, because I have like so many whales. And I have them, since they're underwater, they cannot not move. Because even if they're not moving, like the water is going to move them. So they're always moving or floating, or the fin is moving or whatever. And I thought it was a good touch to have her blush. Yay! And then we get to the actual point of the part 2, which is that whales have massive, and so here it is.
A blue whale's penis can
Again.
These are massive.
So now the penises appear.
Penis. These are massive.
Yay!
A blue whale's penis.
So if you go to this one, here's the penis control, and here's the actual layer for the Photoshop, which was not. This is just an opacity animation. So for before, when they're swimming, etc., I didn't put the penis because it would be like really distracting. But then when we talk about it, it comes out as just. And so the cool part of this is that this is not animated. So the tail moves, and it moves with it, with the motion, which is such a huge time saver. And also it overlaps, and also it makes it look like really fluid and very organic, which is what we want. And the way that we did that is, we use the puppet tool, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 puppets, which we made into pins. So if I unshy this, we have here are the pins for the penises, right? And so if I get the vase, I made this controller, which if you go to the Duik, gives you this controller. So you have then overlapping since this controller, this base, is parented to the whale tail, which is here. From the puppet pins that we used to rig the whale. What I mean by this is that the tail rig, it provides controllers, and it provides like a really cool way to animate this type of wavy things, because when you move the base, then everything follows like in a cascade of movement, overlapping, which is really cool. And so you see this, there are no keyframes. He's just waving his tail, and it moves, it flows, which is so cool. Like, and if you don't want them to, this is the one that comes out of the water, and it was like all the way here, and I wanted it all the way there, that you can still keyframe the thing and move it, like so. And it still moves organically. Check this out. You can see it. Yeah. Which is here. Yes. That rig that we just saw was this little guy. when he goes to the top and he flaps his body out of the water. Isn't it cool? So that's how that was animated, and here is where this really comes in handy, because then he comes in and he gets his, you know, whatever this is called, to watch them, and then we go to this part when you can see how it looks almost identical to the Loch Ness Monster. And I am not pulling your hair here. If you Google this, you will find a lot of pictures, real pictures of this. Like, I was not short of references. And I don't know why, but this piece of information makes me really smile. Like, come on. This is so cool to know, isn't it? Like, can you imagine? This is what I say at the end of the video, which is this shot right here. Then maybe all of the legends of sea monsters and, you know, that they encounter in all those tales from pirates and things like that, it might just be
huge whale penises.
Yes.
And that viewer is so wonderful.
It is. Sorry, I have a very goofy sense of humor, but anyway, I thought it was a really funny story, and I really, really wanted to do it, and it took me so much time to make it happen. And then to top it all up, because I'm really happy with the with the result, but to top it all up, if you go to here's part 2, and I thought it was really funny. We found a song because for the part of the mating, I really, really wanted to have, you know, Careless Whisper by George Michael, because, I mean, it makes sense. But obviously, for copywriting issues, I cannot have it. But we found one that we could use.
Speaking of whale curiosities, here's one more totally worth sharing. Some whale species engage in group mating behaviors, especially blacks and gray whales. You'll
like
sometimes see multiple males around one.
Smooth jazz
Lots of touching,
with
rubbing, rolling, vocalizing,
sax
sometimes.
sounds.
As you can probably guess,
There.
whale penises are massive. A blue whale's penis can reach up to 3 meters.
I mean,
and sometimes they slap them out of the water or just
I'm sorry,
float around
this is
partially
stupid.
erect, waiting for their turn. I mean, why not?
But it made me so happy. So I was very happy with this scene. I think it flows well. I think it looks good. I think it sounds amazing. I think the information is very, very funny. And yeah, in any case, I really love this one. I hope you do too. The next one is going to be kind of like far away from this type of situation. And I'm working on it. But I think this is it. I think this is done. And, you know, at the end, the credits, I always have my donkey corn on the credits. I hope you liked it. This was a little bit longer than I expected, and I don't really go too deep inside like things, because I'm just doing this. I've just done 2 episodes, and so I don't really have a reference of what people might want or not want or be interested in. And so please do tell me if you want me to cover something, or if you wanna, you know, whatever you wanna tell me. Super cool. Thank you so much if you've gotten this far. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you soon.